Hi, everyone. I'm Pete Torre, the host and creator of The Pete Torre Show, and I want to welcome you to episode 21. Before we move on, I want to give a big thank you and shout out to our sponsors, Miami-Dade College and the Health Channel. I have two guests today. My first guest will be Chechu Lasheras. He is the director of the Business Innovation and Technology Center, Miami-Dade College School of Global Business. And my second guest will be Aileen Castellano. She's an international best-selling author and the managing partner of the Castellano Group, LLC. A little bit about my first guest. Chechu Lasheras has over 20 years of experience in the digital world. He was originally from Spain and has worked abroad in several countries, focusing on marketing and branding projects. Let's sit back and listen to my conversation with him. Okay, it is my pleasure to bring to the Pete Torre Show, of course, Chechu Lasheras, who is with Miami-Dade College here in South Florida, in our backyard. How's it going, my friend?
Very good. Thank you so much for the invitation, Pete.
Well, this topic is very, very fascinating. The whole digital world that you've been involved with for over 20 years now. And to say that you have seen changes is probably an understatement. And the more we go forward, as I've experienced on my end, of course, on your end, being a global expert, you're seeing rapid changes happening all the time. Once you think you've arrived at a certain level, then something else is going on. So you got to keep going, moving forward. So tell us a little bit about your background, and I know that you are a computer engineer, and you got involved with this and have been doing it for so many years. So give us a little bit about your background and what you've learned.
Perfect. So, Pete, so again, thank you very much for the invitation. So, my name is Chechu Lasheras. As you will hear from my accent, I'm from Spain. Just arrived here in the United States 4 years ago. And I have developed all my career in Europe. In Spain, might not be an advanced country, but I guess it has the same challenges that the global ecosystem is facing right now. Any market. So I studied computer engineering. I always thought that understanding technology would help me, succeed in this complicated journey of building up your career path, and it was right. It doesn't matter what you work on. If you have a deep understanding on technology, you will be able to see all the challenges that any industry, any function will be facing in the next years. So I started as a consultant. That allowed me help understanding quite deeply a lot of industries. And then I jumped into an industry that fascinated me for more than 15 years. It's the media and advertising industry. Understanding how the rules were changing in terms of the media expand, the media exposure, the media consumption. I mean, people are not consuming media as they used to do 20, 30, 40 years ago. And that's an amazing opportunity for brands, for companies to face that new way of targeting audiences and get a benefit out of that. Anyway, that was my old career. I decided when I came to the United States to have a moment of give back and had the opportunity of understanding an incredible institution that is Miami-Dade College, and also understanding all the challenges that academia is facing for the future of work, for the lifelong journey path of students, or for the talent engine that normally these academic institutions means for the area that they serve. So focus, although that young Chechu working on that digital transformation ecosystem brings to the academia world an understanding on how professions will be reshaped in the future.
Now, a couple things I wrote down here. We can get back to it in a moment, but what is your vision? What is your objective in your role with Miami-Dade and everything you've done technology-wise?
So So I run the Business Innovation and Technology Center. This is a space that is under the School of Business. For us, it's important to power and increase the awareness of technology in the business school. This is a space that provides not just the skills, the knowledge, the technologies, the connections that students might need for to develop their future career path. And so my main mission as an administrator at Miami-Dade College leading this project is basically to make that relevant and impactful. I mean, as it happened to me, understanding technology helped me succeed in the media marketing world. I know this will help people that will face challenges in the finance world, in the supply chain world, in the accounting world, in the hospitality world. So I think bringing what will happen in the future, how the future of work will look like, and building up the programs, building up the content that future will look like, will help all these students succeed in their life. And that's my main mission. I don't know if I summarize it correctly.
No, that's terrific. As you have seen in terms of academia that we've been talking about here, Miami-Dade has done a very good job, Miami-Dade College, in taking the classroom environment, which for years and years and years has been great, but hasn't always connected really well with the real world. You know, when folks leave that classroom environment, that incubator that they're in, correct? Miami-Dade has done a very, very good job. By the way, I'm MDC. I went to Miami-Dade College a few years ago, though. They've done a really good job connecting with the street, you know, with businesses, and making sure that the educational environment that they offer is really connected to the real world. And in this case, you know, they brought you, you know, over as, you know, 20 plus years experience and specifically what you're doing. And that I think is a plus for the students that are looking at this and studying this area, that want to continue and, you know, work as entrepreneurs and media and whatever that might be there. So, what are you bringing to the table in terms of your real world experience to this whole academia environment?
So, Peter, I consider myself just a very small piece in this amazing machinery of that dream that we try to give to our students. And what I bring, and I always share that with all my colleagues, is I want to think out of the box. I mean, I haven't been limited to how academia has evolved in the past, but I've seen a lot of challenges happening in the different industries that I've been working on, and that thinking out of the box, making sure that things can be done and can be done differently sometimes, with all the support of all these academic affairs and all the support of all the great talent that we have internally on faculty, staff. It makes the right mix. And I think bringing also the connections to the industry. I mean, I can share with you, a couple of weeks ago, we built an algorithmic trading week. What it means, we wanted to give the opportunity to our students to understand and learn how you can program a bot to trade in the stock market or even crypto. That's something that if you analyze how trading is done nowadays, 85% of the trading is done through robots. That should be embedded in our curriculum. So we not just support the college building up this amazing week of content. We did a competition, but we also brought more than 15 people from the industry to talk to our students and inspire them. And so I would say I can bring that out of the box thinking, and maybe I am the only one who can do it in terms of that I'm new. So I can be challenged with doing maybe new things, but also I'm connected to the industry, and that's something that is great for for Miami-Dade College. And a lot of my colleagues, and we have defined new roles. Antonio Delgado, the Vice President of the Innovation, Technology, and Partnerships. He also has this great, anxious connection to the industry that will help our colleagues. As you're saying, we need to be connected to the street, to the industries, not just locally. I would say beyond local.
Globally, without a doubt, because it's online, it's digital.
You're
you
right.
Connect to the world.
And nowadays, companies, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, they do a great job here locally, but they are just they have a footprint all around the world. So we need to give also that experience and that exposure to our students.
We are still in the COVID environment, and obviously, last year it hit everybody totally off guard. A year and a half ago, technology was already moving forward. Online, digital business was happening. E-commerce, all of that was going on. The world of podcasting was going on. Do you believe that because of COVID, that has now accelerated that world?
I think so, of course, and not just the world that you are just mentioning. I mean, how e-commerce has evolved. Academia has been reshaped also in the last 2 years. So all the challenges that these academic institutions have been facing in terms of bringing all the safety protocols to our common procedures is something that is also helping us, and not just in terms of how we educate, but on what we educate. I mean, we also need to be aware that things will be changing in the future, and supply chain is accelerating, logistics is accelerating. There are several challenges, and I think that's also a big thought of how academia not just needs to be excellent, but needs to innovate in order to succeed and to attract all this potential talent that we want to inject to the workforce.
Absolutely. We have about a minute left. I want to get your take on the blockchain technology, of which cryptocurrency is a part of. Give us your thoughts, because there is still, because it's still relatively new, even though it's been around for since 2008 or give or take, when it was first introduced. What's your take on the whole evolvement of the blockchain?
So, although I think there is a lot of skepticism in the crypto world, and I think it's fair. I mean, it's something new. It's something that it doesn't bring the confidence that maybe the society might need. I really believe that blockchain is a game changer in terms of how companies will do business, how companies will develop apps, how companies will transact in the future. That technology, I mean, I don't have to say something that it has not said in the past, but that will be the new internet. I mean, the new ecosystem of apps, of transactions that we will see in the next 10 years will rely on this new technology. So although there are a lot of skepticism on the crypto side, and that's built on top of all the blockchain, there are hundreds of benefits that we're getting from this new ecosystem in terms of security, in terms of decentralizing operations, in terms of scaling
and transparency.
So what we were lacking in the past, we will not lack thanks to this technology, and blockchain will be a game changer. Not just for people think that it's only going to be on the finance side, but
it's across the board. It's across the board.
I see supply chains being disrupted, but I've seen even cases on immigration topics that already relies on blockchain. So I guess countries, companies, local institutions that rely on the power of this technology will help reshape this new world. And as I said, in the 10, 15 next years, we will see that the new internet, it's basically blockchain.
You better believe it. I couldn't agree with you more. Chechu, thank you so much for taking time to be with us.
No,
This
thank
is
you.
great insights. We could talk for a much longer period of time. But thank you for your insights. Thank you for giving us some updates on how you're going to be and are working with Miami-Dade for the benefit of the students and the local economy, at the end of the day.
That's our goal, and I think Miami-Dade College is a great vehicle for building that future. So I'm happy that people like you, Pete, support Miami-Dade College as much as you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. Have a great one. Take care.
You too. Bye bye.
Thank you very much to Chechu Lasheras from Miami-Dade College for some great insights on what's going on in the digital world, a lot of it with blockchain and cryptocurrency. My second guest, Aileen Castellano. She is an international best-selling author of Heal Your Past and Live Today. And she is the managing partner of the Castellano Group, LLC. She also holds a master's degree in marriage and family therapy. Let's listen to my talk with Aileen. All right, with me here is Aileen Castellano. How are you?
Oh, thank you so much, Pete, for having me. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Doing phenomenal, and a lot of moving parts, a lot of
Yes.
plate spinning, I think, for you as well. And
Yes.
so I'm really honored that you have taken the time to be with us. We know that you are doing a lot of phenomenal work. You are an international best-selling author, as I mentioned before we brought you on here. Heal Your Past and Live Today. I think I was at the book signing, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken, a couple years ago.
Yes, you
And
were.
so it was a phenomenal evening. You have a beautiful family, great sons. Your sister was there. So that told me a lot. And so what I'd like to do right now for the benefit of the viewers and listeners that might not know Aileen yet, can you tell us a little bit about the work you do and what inspires you?
Oh, that's a great question, Pete. What inspires me? So I think it all just comes together. I was a family therapist for over 20 years, and doing that and being an entrepreneur and a business owner with my father in the family business, I have lived my whole life and have created a whole career around helping people, watching people grow, evolve, helping them through struggles. And I mean, it inspires me to know that people can step into their greatness and have a life-changing experience when they do the work. And sometimes that's where we step back a little bit, and because the work is hard. And sometimes we've got to confront things that we don't want to see and we don't want to accept. And so that's my role. It's always been holding people's hands and kind of walking them through the process and letting them know that they are going to come out on the other side, and that success awaits them. And so I wake up every day inspired to just do that. And it could be a conversation, it could be a word, it could be a smile, it could be a reminder of, hey, you've got this, I believe in you. And so that is, everything just comes together, and it's a beautiful feeling to live on purpose.
It really is. It's as we move on in life and we go through all of our experiences and we gain wisdom and we learn. There's lessons learned and everything. We understand our purpose more than ever,
Yeah.
and are able to convert that into the work that we do and the people that we meet and the people that we hang out with and all that. You just mentioned something right now. Ideas are great, but if you are not working them,
Yep.
they just remain ideas that kind of dissipate into
Yep.
thin air. So it's a two-part process there. The idea, come up with it, and then put it into action. And talking about that, today's world, I'm not calling it post-COVID because we're still there, but it's going through the COVID experience when it comes to employers, business owners, executives. They're struggling. They're struggling to retain their people. Tell us a little bit about some ideas that I know that you're working on to help those business owners, those managers, those executives to hold on to these folks that have done great work for them.
So that's a twofold, because it's the executives, right, or the business owners that are struggling, and the employees are struggling. And so there's a I mean, depending on if it's a corporation or if it's a smaller business, depends on the kind of advice that I would give them in coaching them through this process. So one of the things, Pete, that we know is that we all love to be appreciated and feel appreciated. And so one of the first points that I will bring up to the executives for their departments, if they're the department head or if I'm working with a business owner, is have a conversation with your employees. Let them know that they matter. Let them know that you're open to hear their circumstances. Everybody's circumstance is different. We've had parents that have had to teach their children. They've had their children virtual schooling. So that's one problem. We've had a lot of couples that I've worked with and couples that, I mean, I know it's a problem, that have had to readjust even how their partnerships are working out, because a lot of them would either travel or spend a lot of time in the office. Now everybody was forced to stay inside, and that created a lot of anxiety, a lot of disappointment, a lot of disillusionment, a lot of really just trying to readjust. And so for the businesses, what I'm really encouraging is get to know your employees and their struggles. Even if it's a conversation, you may not have the answers. You may not be able to tell them, listen, you can stay home right now because you may need them in your office or you may need them in your workplace. But acknowledging that they are human and they're going through something is always going to make them feel appreciated. They're going to want to stay with you. They're going to want to stay retained as a retained employee. Maybe 5 days a week is too much to ask them to come back 5 days. And that's what I'm expressing to corporate America, is maybe bring them in a couple days a week and start the adjustment process slow. Yeah, everybody's experienced trauma since last year. We were all thrown into this situation. It wasn't anything that anybody called in. And so it's an adjustment period, but appreciation is such a powerful place to be as an employer and as an employee.
I'm thinking out loud now as you're sharing that. Without a doubt, our people, the people, our team, our employees. You want to make them feel that obviously they're important as workers, but as you just said right now, as human beings first.
Right.
Let me just, look at this in a different light. And I remember this growing up and working and all that is there's also kind of like that boundary of, and this is where you kind of got to walk very carefully, not to go too far into their personal life. Right. And some of them are just saying, wait a minute, this is beyond the work environment here. So what kind of advice do you give to executives when something like that occurs?
Well, sometimes it's as simple as letting them know that you're there if they need you. And just letting them know, listen, I'm here, I support you. I know acknowledging is really important. Acknowledge that they've been going through something or that it's been difficult. And if they need somebody or they want to talk to somebody, that you're there as the executive, as their boss, or that you're there to listen. But of course, like you said, I mean, there's going to be things that they're not necessarily going to have, the comfort to just open up. But that's where I come in as a high performance coach for these companies, is they would be speaking to somebody like myself. So if the company hasn't hired somebody, typically employees don't really want to talk to HR because HR is still part of the company. Mm-hmm. And so for these executives to identify, I've got a few of these really strong, powerful, great staff members, employees that are struggling. I'd love for them to have a conversation with you, Aileen. And they don't need, it's all confidential, so they wouldn't know in detail what we talk about. But that's why hiring a coach at this time would be so important for these companies to help these employees through this process while they're still an employee, they're still trying to get themselves back. But it shows the employee that they also are being helped and that they're being noticed as someone that's important enough for the company to invest in them to get back into the groove of things, get back into acclimating into the company again.
Let me ask you a question just out of curiosity. As a coach, and especially when you're dealing with employees, that's a monumental responsibility that you have in terms of the confidentiality of those conversations, because, if they gain trust and they feel comfortable with you, they're going to tend to open up more about what's going on there. So not only are you a coach, but you put on the hat of an advisor, you put on the hat of psychologist. You put the hat on of, a priest almost, where, there, it's a responsibility when,
Yes.
how have you, how has that worked for you? Because, I'm sure in your years of working, when you're in private practice as a family therapist and everything like that, how does that affect you personally?
So again, that's really great. It's a great question because as a coach, as a teacher, as a guide, as an advisor, we also need to have people that we go to. And so I've got team members that they're my coaches. They're people that I will, depending on what I'm going through, depending on what kind of case I'm working on, I do have people that I can access and I can call, and I'm on speed dial, and we will have a brief conversation and help me through that process as well. And that's one other thing, again, as a coach, but I teach coaches and other teachers and executives is we all need someone to talk to. We've all, not only because we've gone through this, but even as professionals, executives, if you're working 90 hours a week, you better have somebody that you can lean on when, the deal didn't close or the bottom line just got hit or you lost your best employee, like whatever that situation is, and business owners too. And so that's really, Pete, like yourself and myself, like we're here to advise and to have that open mind and that open line of communication with the people around us so that we can step in and give advice, but we can also know when it's time for us to ask for advice and get some help ourselves. So it's a continuum. It's continuously, it's a conversation.
It's ongoing, and we never get there, right?
Oh, no.
There is no there.
No.
You arrived, and now what's the next step, or what's the next,
Yes.
going up in the next floor up. I'd like to know a little bit more about your high vibrational performance practice and the methodology that you use and how that has and is helping executives and their employees.
So one of the things that I love to teach is if we understand that everything is energy and that everything holds a frequency, then we also are responsible for how we are vibrating. And we could be around somebody that has a very low vibration and we'll say, wow, like I really don't want to be around so-and-so. I feel like their energy is very toxic for me. And so we speak this way all the time. And so implementing and putting that into my program so that the individuals that I'm working with are aware of what their energy, what are they vibing? Are they the person that people don't want to be around, that they cringe around, or are they very inviting and opening in their lines of communication and how their appearance is? And so it's interesting that I'm right now I'm in the process of writing another book, which is all around the mental health program and how mental health, I believe that in the system and working in it for over 20 years, I recognized that there was a component missing. We're not just our thoughts and our emotions, we're also the energy. We're also the energy of the environment that we live in. And it was beautiful watching little kids, they're doing great in school, and then they go home to a toxic environment. And of course, they start acting out at home, but in school, they're impeccable. It's like, wait, so there's something in this. And so I have a whole case studies, research around that. And I'm writing and incorporating the importance of being in a vibration that is complementary to you and to others, because that does make a difference, Pete, on the kind of success that we wanna achieve. If we think in excess and abundance and riches, and we're motivated that way, everything around us becomes that. But if we're in this Debbie Downer, or we're victims, or we feel bad about ourselves, or we're thinking of all the past and all of our mistakes, and we're just beating ourselves up, there's no way you're not going to grow in that corporate ladder, whether it's a business, whether it's something that you're starting off, whether it's corporate America. So that is the importance of teaching, creating the awareness, teaching them what to do, how to step into a higher vibration. And then the most important piece of all is sustaining it. How do you sustain that? It's like the person that wins the lottery. Okay, so you won the lottery, but how are you going to sustain that? How do you create this livelihood, this luxury lifestyle that you have access to if you're poor in spirit, when you're poor in mind, your thoughts? So just helping them to be more complementary with themselves.
That is so important. I really believe, because you feel it, energy and the vibes in a room and a gathering of people, that's an intangible that you can't really put a price tag on, but it's there and that it does exist. Aileen, this has been a fabulous conversation. This has been terrific.
Thank
And
you.
when can we expect your new book out?
So I'm working for the beginning of 2022.
Okay.
So it's all in the works, and it's got in with the editors and working on all of that. So excited to put this out there.
That's And how can the viewers and listeners get a hold of you?
So my website is great. That's one way that they can access me. It's under AileenC.com, spelled AILEENC.com. And that's also being revamped, and my brand is being all updated and everything too. And the other would be the book. The Amazon bestseller is on Amazon, and it's Heal Your Past and Live Today. And social media, Aileen Castellano. I'm all over the place.
Yes, you are. Hey, thank you so much for taking
thank
time.
You, Pete.
This has been a great message from you, and
Wonderful.
keep doing the great work that you're doing.
Thank you. You too, Pete. Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity.
All right. Take care of yourself. God bless.
You too. God bless.
Bye-bye. Many thanks to Aileen for taking time to be with us today and give us some very, very incredible, relevant, and timely information on what's going on in the workforce today. Thanks to you. Keep sending your feedback and your comments. They're really helping me define the programming that we do for you, because, again, I want you to learn, get inspired, and take your business to that next level. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and if you got a moment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Pete Torre. You could also listen to me on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and TuneIn Radio. Hey, everybody, let's just get out there and soar together. You take care of yourselves, and God bless.